Yeah, we have to edit it.
Yeah. Well, or not play it in here so that it doesn't play on there.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
AUH philosophy.
Just turn the volume off in here while it
I
plays.
suppose it's
And the way of the Sunday, and the fourth way incorporates all three. The program will offend you.
Traveling across the ether, through the interwebs, and into your radio. You're listening to Magic Radio Chicago, your Q4 doorway to the other side.
And welcome to Magic Radio Chicago, streaming live from Q4.org, the station that creates beauty and defends it with magic. And now witchcraft. Well, witchcraft is always part of that. Hello, everybody out there in Q4 land. This is your host, DK Prince. With me is my co-host, Nina Soul. Welcome, Nina.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey, how's everyone?
I did not make an event page this week, and I did not schedule a guest, so we could just have a little chat between myself, Nina, and the Q4 listening audience. So
Yes.
and also
And
our audience
YouTube.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. So feel free to call in if you want. Our number is 312-985-7834. And once again, that's 312-985-7834. Now, today's a special day. We haven't scheduled anything in particular. What we're going to do is just hang here and interact with the audience, because today, or rather this week, marks the 5th anniversary of Magic Radio Chicago. Hang on a moment. Okay, I think I know what that was.
Yeah, you got that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got that. Okay, that was a track play. Okay, I'm gonna need your help with some. We're gonna go on a gremlin hunt later, Nina.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, whenever you got this much tech in one space, you're gonna have gremlins messing with stuff.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Yes. No, you're good.
Okay. Yep. So there was that happening. So welcome to Magic Radio Chicago, and as I was saying to our listeners out there, feel free to call us at 312-985-7834. Again, that is 312-985-7834. And give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, which we will be on more often. And feel free to hit us up. Now, this is the 5th anniversary of my show. I have been doing this for 5 years as of this week. It started in, I want to say, early September. I knew it was it had to have been, I want to say, the 9th or the 11th, somewhere around there. I don't think our show started on September 11th, because I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that. What do you think, Nina?
I mean, yeah, I don't think that you did it on September 11th.
If you started the show on September 11th,
I think that you would not
remember
forget that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think that would be something that you would easily forget.
Very true, very true.
So 5 years. Congratulations,
Thank
DK.
you, thank you much. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a labor of love.
Right.
Yeah, so I suppose a lot of people, I mean, my show, it turns out my show is really not all that unique either. There's a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of podcasters out there. People who practice witchcraft and alternative medicines and other practices. There's a lot of them out there. Oh, look, someone said, hello, everyone. Congratulations to us, Nina.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So you're getting some kind of
Yeah,
feedback
I'm
here.
getting us up on the laptop here. That way I can kind of read things while I talk. So I do have some questions for you, DK. So
Sure.
out of these 5 years, what would you say, hosting radio, what is your most memorable experience? Let's go there, because I feel that we have to really.
That's a tough one.
5 years is a long time.
I've met a variety of different people. Some were cool, some were kind of trying, but some were all right.
Right.
And I've also made some good friends over the years. So it's a tough one to narrow down. If I had to go backwards, I think the biggest surprise I ever got, and this is going to freak people out. All right. The biggest surprise I ever got was last winter. I network an awful lot through Facebook in order to find guests and people and topics for my show. So, let's see. So anyway, I actually was part of a Facebook group called Saving Ghosts
Oh,
because I'm very interested in the paranormal and I know a lot about ghosts and all that.
right.
So I thought it'd be cool. So I was really digging for a guest one day, and then what happened was I just put out an ad or whatever in Saving Ghosts, and I actually the administrator actually got a hold of me, and it was really funny because he didn't know it was me the whole time. What had happened was I sent it like an ad or something, I forget, an ad or an invite or something, and then okay, so then I get this email later, and the email said, we run a Facebook group called Saving Ghosts. One of our members took it upon himself to post this ad or whatever without our consent. However, we're intrigued by your show and we'd be interested in talking to you about it.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
okay, great.
Right.
And then we start talking like, well, first of all, that was me. Sorry about that. I didn't know that was not, the decorum.
Right.
The other thing was, turns out Saving Ghosts is an actual it's a TV show.
Oh,
I was talking to the people who actually run and star in and do the investigations for Saving Ghosts, the regular series.
right.
It's considered like, like Ghost Hunters and one of those shows. It's one of those.
Right.
I'm not sure what network it's on. Something maybe Amazon or maybe Prime, I forget.
Oh,
But yeah,
I'm sure you could probably
And I
even
wasn't-
type it in on YouTube and find some episodes.
and I didn't even know where they were stationed out of, and turns out they're stationed out of Las Vegas.
Oh,
Which I didn't know. So we had to arrange a phone interview, which, I'm not crazy about them because it's easy to lose control in a phone
yeah,
interview. It's
yeah,
also
we've
hard-
experienced that.
Yeah, and it's very hard to signal your guests, too.
Right, right.
Believe me, there's been times where I've been jumping up and down like, oh, please feel it through the ether, stop.
Right.
But anyway, so I got on the phone with him about an hour before airtime so we could just, touch base and network and make sure everything's on board. And that's when I learned that this was a TV show, which completely shocked the hell out of me. And not only that, but we totally get along. And I brought in Bill Morton that day because the show is largely about ghosts, and Bill is a old ghost investigator
Right.
from back in the 90s. So it was a really good show. Bill got to sit in and exercise his ghost hunting chops, and we all had a really good conversation. That was just probably the most pleasant, memorable surprise that leaps to my mind anyway, out of 5 years, and that's fairly recent.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had some good times too. We've had authors on.
Nice.
We've been gifted books. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Glamour
Yeah.
Witch.
As a matter of fact, if you want to talk for a second, let me show you. You plug something of yours, or you get the ball coming
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah. Oh, I got the ball
I got
coming
some.
up.
I got
got a lot
something.
to talk about over here.
I got something I wanted to show you. It
Yeah,
was a
for
present from last
sure.
week. So while I'm doing that
For
real
sure.
quick, plug your ball.
All right, yeah, most definitely. So, as you guys know, I am the host of the Witches Ball that I hold every October. So, if you guys have not been to a Witches Ball yet, and you guys are looking for a community to gather, or a community gathering of witches, I have people reach out to me all the time like, hey, do you know if there's any rituals going on, any ceremonies going on, any gatherings going on? So I actually host, in October, I host the Witches Ball every October. And this is my 3rd year hosting it. So I am really excited about the theme. It is Witches in Wonderland. So it's basically the witches taking over Wonderland.
Is it like a dark, twisted version of Alice in Wonderland?
It's like a trippy version of Alice in
sounds very
Wonderland.
cool,
So I'm already planning my outfit, and I'm going with like some very kind of like pastel colors, but almost like if you've ever gone to like one of those what would they call it? Like almost like a rave or anything like that. That's kind of like the
Are you gonna be
outfit
wearing
I'm
like
going
a big
with.
Dr. Seuss hat?
No, I'm gonna.
Or do you have
Because
one?
I have locks, So for those of you
Oh,
guys that
right.
are not
That'd be
watching here
hard.
on YouTube, you guys can't really see my hair. So I have locks. So I'm actually gonna put like some high pigtails, and like probably put like some some like streamer things. Like
wonder-
just make it really crazy.
I gotta imagine it wouldn't be too hard to customize one of those Dr. Seuss hats. You
Oh,
could have
no,
a big
it
hole for
wouldn't.
your locks to come out the back.
Oh yeah, true.
And let your locks would hold the thing down on your head too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm short, so I like to wear my hair tall because it makes me look taller. I like to fool people with my big hair. My big hair and my big personality.
That does help.
And then when you meet me, I'm like 4'11".
Well, you're in good company. I'm probably I'm actually taller than both of my parents, so you're in good company.
So we do actually have some questions here. That's the other thing I want to add, you guys. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, and if you have any questions, whether it be for DK or myself, and you guys want to ask your questions, but you don't want to call in, you guys can go ahead and type your question here in the comments section on YouTube, and you guys can find us on YouTube at House of Spiritual Vibes. So you can type your question there, and I ask that you put your questions in all capital letters. That way I can see that you have a question. But we actually already do have a question right here. Mary Jane is asking if DK is going to be attending the Witches Ball.
I might. We're still working that out because I got to work. It's a long story. My schedule is crazy. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have me there. Great. I'm also involved in a entrepreneurial venture called Glitter Picks. Everybody should look into that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they might.
They were talking about playing at
you've
the
been
ball.
talking with Alan about setting up a booth there.
Yeah.
And Alan's been like, I need you to man that booth. And like,
It would be
dang.
awesome if you do. Like, yeah, for sure. Let me know.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
I just don't know what my schedule is going to be like just then. But if I'm free, if I'm free to go, I will.
Oh, for sure.
I'll need a ride, of course.
Right.
I'll probably need to tag along with somebody.
Right.
But if I can, I will. Totally.
And that's what I always. Okay, so I wanted to I'm gonna
Just
tell
curl
you.
up in the trunk or something.
I'm gonna tell you now that we're in person, but I really wanted to tell you that I really like how much you are. Like you're so supportive of everybody and anything that they do.
Well, thanks.
And I really like that. No, seriously, because in the things that are going on within the community, our local community here, there's not a whole lot of support when it comes to gatherings or even just people doing like their own fundraisers or things like that. There's really not there's a lack of support when it comes to these things, and you're always showing support. So
I appreciate that. I thank you.
Yeah.
And I think you're being. I think you give me a lot of credit. There's some people out there who I don't deal with, and there's some organizations I stay clear from, and largely because if they've rubbed me wrong in the past,
right.
If I'm aware that they're not all that, they're kind of shady.
They're not straightforward.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm aware of that, I'll kind of try to stay clear. So
right.
I've gotten some criticism over the last 5 years for that. In fact, one guy who was a pretty well-known, I'm not going to go into names, but let's just say I was criticized most harshly once, right here at the radio station, by some guy who used to be a big deal in the Chicago pagan community scene. He's considered a leader. He's done a lot, and I won't deny his accomplishments. But one day he blew up in my face. I mean,
really?
I thought he was gonna slug me.
Oh my gosh.
And because basically I was explaining to him how I don't have everybody on my show. I'll extend invitations, I'll accept invitations, but if I know somebody's shady or disruptive,
or if you don't vibe with them,
right? Yeah, and my thing is, longtime listeners of the show will know that my one of my biggest pet peeves is cults.
Right.
To a lesser extent. But yet, a significant extent, I am also very turned off by brainwashing, manipulation, coercion, narcissism, techniques that religious institutions use to keep you afraid. These things really get under my skin. They really get on my nerves.
For sure.
And I've seen people, and it doesn't even have to be religious too. It's a dynamic, and you could join a sewing circle or a group of friends or a church social or a gaming circle, play Dungeons and Dragons. Doesn't matter. As long as if you get involved in any group of people and personalities are involved, at some point, sometimes there will be groups where they start peer pressuring you in such ways where you're not even yourself anymore after you keep bending.
Yeah. Oh, and they do it gradually too.
Yeah. The real shady ones know what they're doing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And what's going on with that is that I've seen people I care about I don't want to say lose their lives, but they could have.
Right.
I've seen them go down a very bad, dark path. So that really got under my skin, and so it's also been kind of a pet cause of mine. I'm always when I'm dealing with religious organizations, be it a coven or a group of friends or even a full-blown organization, I tend to keep my eyes wide open. I don't jump right in, and I watch how they treat their people, and I watch how their people behave.
Right.
Because I will not condone brainwashing. I'm not going to be the guy who sent people to Jonestown, if you follow me. know.
For sure.
You know, it's like back in the day, Jim Jones was considered a very respectable man in every sense of the word. You know, in terms of society, he was. He even won like a presidential award for being a good example. And then, of course, we all know Jonestown happened. You know what he did in Jonestown, and how he made all these people like drink cyanide and feed cyanide to their children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to be the guy saying.
I think I've seen the documentary
Yeah,
on that, actually.
we all have, but we've all seen the photos.
Right.
With the airplane or the helicopter coming into Jonestown, and you see all those bloated bodies, like hundreds, just lying around.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy that told like some woman who fed her kid cyanide, like, oh, go to Jim Jones. He's a good man. He'll take you in. He'll teach you some things. You'll find real acceptance and love there. I'm not going to be him. I'm not going to be the guy telling anybody what to believe, and I'm not going to tell them what, they're safe if I don't think they are.
Right.
You know. I mean, there's been a
And there's always somebody that feeds off of like this power of being in control, and it's
always,
like, you know, they're just like they're driven by power, and the feeling in control of everything and everybody just really like feeds their ego, I feel.
It can go another direction too. I just had a thought about that today.
Did you?
Yeah. You know, in fact, just a little while ago, I was thinking about that. You know how I was thinking about like, you know, these white nationalists and racists and all these people who get together, you know, and they feel so threatened. They feel like their people are threatened, you know. And I can understand the need to belong. I can understand that. Personally, I think just racism is useless, just because nobody out there picked the color of their skin.
Right.
Nobody picked their parents, you know.
Well, I feel that, like, I guess, well, my belief, I do feel that we did pick, we picked our parents, and we knew what, like, our struggles, everything that we're gonna deal with coming into this life, but a lot of it has to deal with paying back past karmas, you know, and learning things and different lessons, and also sacrifices to be able to learn and to grow in this experience of living in this life. That's personally though.
But you know, I'm sorry, just to interject, just to sum up, what I'm saying is the idea I had today was, okay, well, we all know people like that who need groups,
Right.
and they need a sense of belonging.
A sense of belonging, yeah, that just came to me.
And and those things are pretty obvious. But the one thing that leaped to my mind finally was like these people who are clamoring for their race, for their, and they have this deep need for their people. It occurred to me, it's like, how do we know that they're not really just thirsty?
Yeah.
We've all known somebody. We all know at least one person who needs attention so bad that they'll do anything to get it.
Right.
They might not even be bad people. They just might need the attention impulsively, like constantly. You know, maybe they didn't get enough at home, or maybe they had some problems. Maybe they have some kind of disorder that they know about or don't know about. You know, maybe they need medication. But whatever the situation is, a person who's thirsty and desperate will interject them in situations that don't concern them constantly. Because they need that constant, like, assurance that they need to be the center of attention.
Right.
You know, so it occurred to me.
And some people do that, like, even in a way of victimizing themselves, like keeping themselves in like this victim mode where they feed off of other people feeling sorry for them or sympathetic towards them. Just them feeling like they're receiving this type of attention. It feeds them so much so that they want to dwell in.
Kind of stay there.
Yeah, stay there.
You know, a friend of mine was telling me about that a long, long time ago. She was saying that I think she worked for a while as a nurse, and she's explained to me to be careful about that. She said that when you, if you ever get a seriously bad injury, or if you get laid up for a while, what you should try to be as active as as your health will allow.
Right.
You know, don't hurt yourself, obviously. But she said, don't get in that sedimentary mode, because she said what will happen is like some people in hospitals wind up getting the victim mode, and they like being lying around, and they like people serving them and taking care of them, and they like the attention.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that's true of everybody, but that's something that nurses are aware of.
Right.
That the patient isn't necessarily going to they're not always going to try to recover.
Right.
I mean, we've heard cases, I'm sure, like, you read those blurbs in the news about, like, this woman from wherever winds up, like, basically ruining her health because she kept because she kept like faking symptoms so she could get hospitalized.
Right.
And then she'd get
It's almost like that Munchausen by proxy disorder. Yes.
Yeah, and then like she would take medications that weren't clearly made for her because she's not actually sick.
Right.
And then she winds up getting sicker.
Yeah.
You know, or hurts herself, or gets deep into debt because she keeps going to the hospital. You know, I saw a woman like this on Dr. Phil just recently. It was crazy, yeah.
I love Dr. Phil.
Yeah. Is he a real doctor? I'm never sure.
I mean, I think anybody that's able to help others, like, I feel that whether they be like a physical, like, you know, like checkup doctor, physical doctor, like for physical health, but I feel like there's a lot of people that are doctors that if you're helping somebody, whether it's to acknowledge something that is not good within you, or that's needing to be fixed, or that's needing to be worked on, I feel like it'd be classified. I don't know, like.
I mean, well, we all get things that would like to make better about ourselves.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was a crazy situation. You gotta be. All I'm saying is you gotta be aware of that, like getting into that mentality where it's like, oh my God, well, you know, I only get attention when I'm being bad or when I'm like hurting.
Right.
So like, you know, like, that kicks in.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that actually like will physically harm themselves.
Yeah,
because it's, you know, I think in a lot of ways there's a lot of different reasons. Like I could see also too if they feel like they're not in control of certain situations in their life, or they're, you know, it's something that they can control. So a lot of times, and I've read like a lot of books on like psychology and stuff like that, but a lot of times they will hurt themselves because they feel like they are in control of at least their own pain, their physical pain.
We got a question here.
Oh, do we? Oh.
Right there. Who's
So
this?
Melly says,
Melly. Hey, Melly.
Melly, she says, question for the panel. What are the thoughts about health and spirituality? Yes, Melly, thank you so much, sister, for asking that question.
Shall we both take a turn
yes.
giving it? Okay.
Yeah, you
start.
can, no, you go first.
Okay.
We're celebrating your 5 years. You go first.
Well, thank you. All right. I am not an expert, but from my comings and goings, here's my thoughts on health and spirituality. They are not necessarily separate. They are. Each one is an extension of ourselves. You know.
Yes.
You know, if your body is feeling run down and bad, your thoughts and the way you do things aren't going to be your best. You know, you're going to suffer. If not suffer, you're at least going to be slower, or you know. So, it's true. There is truth to that. I am not vegan. I'm a chain smoker. I drink. I party.
He's like admitting everything right here.
I am a lifelong.
He's an open book.
Yeah, I wear my crap on my sleeve. I've been told that before, you know. And so I'm not preaching at all. I'm one to talk, but I go through enough where I'm aware, and plus I know enough witches and light workers and even some people in the health industry who will tell you, you know, just you know. Your outlook is completely different when your body's healthy. Mm-hmm. You know.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and it's an extension of your spirituality. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're going to play the flip game here, and you don't eat any meat, you don't have any fat on you, you don't indulge in sugar or anything bad, and you take care of yourself like militantly, then that's great. But it also doesn't make you more spiritual than anyone else. Each one is just an extension of the effort you put into your own self-care.
For sure.
You know, your spirituality is, in my opinion, your thoughts and your ideas, your art. And your thoughts and your ideas and your art is only going to be as good as you are to yourself. And I'm one to talk, so believe me when I tell you that it affects. You know, if you don't take care of yourself, it's going to interfere with your other portions of your life.
Yeah, and you know, I think I feel like we've all experienced those things, and I feel like as a spiritual being, I feel that we have to go through situations of realizing and acknowledging different things that we can do to elevate ourselves in our health as well as within our spirituality, because there's a lot of ways that you can grow within your own gifts and your own abilities, your own powers. There's a lot of things that you can unleash by just switching up your diet, by changing the kind of feminine products or hygiene products that you use, things that you put into your body, things that you consume, even just being more aware of, you know, like, why is it that we eat? We eat to feed ourselves, to you know, to nourish our bodies. We don't eat for pleasure. I mean, it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna have this big chunk of chocolate cake because I enjoy it. Like, you gotta kind of be a little bit like, okay, what is this piece of chocolate cake gonna do for my body? Am I nourishing my body? Am I loving myself by eating this? Or am I feeding an unhealthy part of myself?
That's very true.
Is it helping me emotionally? Is there something I'm not dealing with? Because the other thing is too is that for those of us that love to eat chocolates, chocoholics.
I'm one.
Yeah,
So.
but you know, there's actually a thing is that when you feel that you crave chocolate, it's actually you having you're filling a void of not having love, because chocolate makes you feel love. That's how come a lot of times, like Valentine's Day, you know, we give each other chocolates, things like that, because they actually give you the feeling of love. And so a lot of chocoholics are missing that emotion, that emotional stimulation of love.
You know, there's another aspect to that too.
Oh, yeah?
I could touch on it, and I guess some people will punch the air. All right, I'll say it.
You're good at that, DK. You're
I'll
good
say
at
it. All right, fine. Here we go.
I'll say it.
Chocolate also releases, or it either triggers or releases something in your brain. They call it MAOIs.
Uh-huh.
These are these are the hormones that activate your pleasure centers in your brain.
Right.
Okay, like, maybe somebody out there's correcting me. I can almost hear it now. You know, it's
No,
like,
but this is your
Okay.
that's the thing
Okay,
is that
but
this is your truth, even if other people don't believe it.
Chocolate makes you feel better because it brings out those hormones in your brain that make you feel good.
Right.
And not only that, well, let's just say psychedelic mushrooms for people who are into that. Now, of course, it's kind of a pain in the butt to chew on them and then swallow them and then wait for the trip to happen. But I've known people who do that, and they'll eat mushrooms, but then they'll like fill their hand full of chocolate too, and then guzzle it all and chew it all up together at the same time, because then it doesn't taste so bad. But not only that, your trip is a little bit better because you now have chocolate mixed in with the mushrooms, activating your MAOIs in your brain. So now you're just like, I'm chilling tonight. Yeah.
I've never done it, so I don't know. I have this thing where I have to be in control of like
No, and that's a perfectly
my body.
and don't judge anybody for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't,
I'm not
but-
saying you do. I'm just like
Yeah.
out there in Q4 land. Don't judge anybody for that either. If they're straight edge and they or not, you know, or if they,
Right.
you know, as long as they're not hurting themselves or anyone else. But
Right.
I'm just stating something I learned medically, and that is that actually, if you are going to use psychedelic mushrooms, chocolate helps.
Yeah.
So
You
there's
better
that.
stop. Don't be giving people advice on how to trip. What's wrong with you?
Don't walk off a cliff. Don't
wrong
get
with
into
you?
fights. Have a bunch of fruit nearby. Keep hydrated. You know, play some music. You know.
Oh my God.
Let's
Okay,
start some art.
next subject.
Next subject. But you know
Next
what?
subject.
I'd like to thank you for bringing that up, Melly, out there in YouTube, because interesting that you brought that up. Because if we're gonna look backward, the very first year that I was on the air, my co-host at the time was Summer. And Summer was actually a pretty well-respected holistic healer in Chicago. She actually won like some notices from some magazines or whatever, calling her like the top-rated holistic healer in Chicago. So for a while, she had that going on. And if there was one major message we had throughout our first season together, it was that she and I would repeatedly tell people to listen to their bodies, which is a big deal, you know.
Oh, for sure.
If you're going to start a magical regimen, start with yourself. You don't have to necessarily dive into all the hardcore chanting and all the, you know, flagellation and sweating and whatever, you know, living in a cave, whatever it is you think you need to do. Just start with your health. Start with the basics.
Yeah.
Start changing the things about you that you know are making you feel bad.
Yeah, understanding your thought patterns
Yeah.
and feeding
not only-
yourself positive words of affirmation.
I've actually discovered an uncomfortable truth about myself this year.
That's good.
And I'll say it out loud on the air. It's not that big a deal, but let's just say, as a child, I was subject to an incredible amount of abuse, physical and verbal, and I mean like ruthlessly, relentlessly, and that went on for years. And I'm just very stubborn, and very
Right.
so it's hard to really like you can beat me up, but you're not going to necessarily like take me out,
Right.
you know. And sometimes when I used to get like really like verbally berated all the time, the person doing it would be smoking like in front of me, and like my parent would be like smoking like menthol cigarettes right in front of me in my room with the door closed, and just sweating me and just tearing into me and like he's just laying into me, you know,
Right.
like I'm not even a relative,
Right.
like I'm just trying to live off them.
Right.
And it occurred to me recently too, because I'm a chain smoker, and then eventually, like it started occurring to me, like on days where I had no cigarettes at all, and the nicotine worked its way out of my system, I started to feel more normal, more level, more balanced, and the kind of thoughts in my head that could make me feel bad or give me bad memories, I began to realize I see them and I feel them more often when I'm like in full blown like chain smoking mode. And then I realized like when nicotine's a stimulant, menthol is a stimulant. Not only that, I have a very bad association with that smell. You know,
It triggers
yeah.
painful memories.
And it became a vicious circle because I got used to smoking and I get used to the smell of it and I get
Right.
used to it and I don't necessarily know this is going on. All I know is I progressively feel worse. You know. And then there's also like just now, I was out all night with Bill Morton hanging out there and.
Hey, Bill.
And I was out very late with Bill. We went to Fire Wings on Pulaski, right around the corner from Pulaski and Lawrence. Go check it out. It's a good place. They got like a big, gigantic menu of all the different sauces they have. It's
Nice.
always nice. Yeah, there's a few I definitely want to try out at some point.
Yeah.
Last night I tried the Carolina barbecue. That was good. Yeah.
That sounds good.
It
Do
was
they have
nice.
like any interesting flavors, like some
Lots.
weird stuff?
I'm kicking myself. I wanted to take a photo of the menu and I didn't.
Ah,
But yeah, they had a pretty eclectic selection.
Yeah?
And I like that. Yeah.
like grape jelly and.
Yeah. So I was. No, I didn't see
I'm
that.
just kidding.
It never occurred to me, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
You might be- it might
I've
be
made
a-
grape jelly
you might have just started a
barbecue
brand new thing.
meatballs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty
But
good.
anyways, so today I'm coming over the station and I hadn't had a cigarette and I'm not feeling very good because I'm very tired.
Oh, you didn't have a cigarette?
On the way here now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but then when I got here, I had one and I felt like, oh, bleh.
Right,
You know?
right.
And I was like, yeah, my body was feeling kind of balanced until that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and my mind says, like, I'm used to having a cigarette. I need one to calm down or chill out right now. And then my body's going, no.
It's like your way of coping.
I guess so, yeah. And like I said, it's an uncomfortable truth, but I'm recognizing it now.
Right.
You know, it's like
Which-
I'm putting my body in that sense of being off center.
Yeah.
And when I keep it that way, then I don't, and it goes on for a long time, then you don't feel so good.
Uh-huh. And the thing is that there's healthy ways of coping. Like there's healthier things that you can do. So for example, if you know that when you smoke cigarettes, it's an unhealthy way of coping with whatever it is that you could, if it's just thoughts or just, you're kind of like, not feeling like you're happiest. Like there's different things that you could do.
Yeah, some people have other, things. They could
Right.
smoke or drink or overeat.
Yeah. Everybody
or
has
have-
something.
Or get their Mac on constantly,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like
Right.
you'll do.
Right.
You're like, okay,
Right.
And you're not caring about people. You're just kind of feeding your need,
Yeah.
So I guess that's for Melly. That is my answer to the question, and that is that yes, you need to take care of yourself, and it will affect the way that you dive into your spiritual practice.
Melly just said that you're her spirit animal, LOL.
Oh, you're kind. You're very, very kind. Kind of a feral spirit animal. They kind of keep out in the yard. Yeah, you're like, oh, company's coming over today. No, we got to keep DK in the backyard today.
So I just feel like, for me personally, I feel like the healthier you become for your physical body, because this is your capsule. Like, this is just something that harbors your spirit, something that we just reside in. It's not, and we kind of have to take care of it almost like we take care of our homes. Like you dust your home, you clean your home, you want it to be nice and tidy, and and all these things. It's like the same way that you have to care for your body, because by doing so, you can help to elevate yourself spiritually more than what you would be doing if you have like these unhealthy. And I don't think cigarettes is that unhealthy. Like, I mean, there's things
worse.
that people smoke that are just far worse than that. But I mean, for you to acknowledge that's.
Well, I've had the habit my whole adult life on
Right.
and off. I've quit a few times, but then
Right.
I'd fall back into it.
Right. And but to acknowledge it though, that's like a big step. Like, just that alone is acknowledging that you have this way of coping with things. Like that, some people can't do that. Like, some people deny it, or they make they make excuses for what it is that they do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Desert Siren says, your body is a temple. It must be honored.
Very
Ashe.
true.
Yes.
It is a temple to Dionysus, but okay. The god of basically partying, the Greek god of partying and wine and craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. But yes,
Oh, so
you're
what did
absolutely
you-
correct. Your body is a temple, and the thing is, though, if you decide to undertake the magical path, you are volunteering to learn a lot, to do a lot of work, and you are now obligated to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because basically everything you I've said this all 5 years, that the magical arts amplifies your life. Everything,
True.
It's not wish fulfillment. It's not like I want things and I'm going to make it happen because I'm a boss witch like that. No, it's really you taking the time to care about yourself, take care of yourself, take care of your health, and take care of your loved ones. And there's microcosm and then there's macrocosm. Mm-hmm. Microcosm is our little lives, ourselves.
The nucleus.
The nucleus, your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's the macrocosm, which is the elements outside of you
Outside of
that
yourself.
also are part of somehow
Yeah.
a reflection of your life and your body, and your health.
Yeah.
And you do attract things that you're ready for. If you undertake the magical path, you might attract things that you really don't want to encounter, but it happens,
It does, and a lot of times it happens because we're needing to learn a lesson, and when we do that, when situations like that happen, for me personally, because I help a lot of other people in what it is that I do, so when I go through something, I know that there's going to be somebody reaching out to me that is going to be going through that same thing that I just went through, and I'm going to have to pretty much coach them, spiritually coach them into telling them, how it was that I got through it. And I don't necessarily show my personal experience, but I do let them know, like, hey, you can do this or you can do that to get out of what it is that you're going through. And Mrs. Julio Jones, she said, can we call in and ask questions? Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And
Mrs.
how do we
Julio
do that,
Jones.
Nina?
You can do that by calling 312-985-7834.
What is that again?
That number again is 312-985-7834.
All right.
How'd you like that?
That was good. So, Mrs. Jones, please feel free to call
Yeah,
us.
please feel free to call us.
Yep. Now, out there in Q4 land, I see that we have a number of listeners. Thanks to Nina and her awesome little YouTube setup, and she's already raised the bar on this show.
Aw.
The few episodes she's been here, she's already raised the bar. And my life is weird and juggling and topsy-turvy and chaotic enough, but she actually made a few things.
But that's why the universe has brought me to you and
Right.
said, here, DK.
Yeah. And
Here's the
originally it was
Nina
going to be your
soul.
friend who wanted to co-host, yeah. But then you're like, I want to do it. No,
I want to do
it's
it.
like, sure, yeah, you can do it, sure. You've been a guest. You know,
Yeah.
the routine.
Yeah. Yeah, so
That's cool. I do have one announcement though I'd like to make real quick. It's not a huge one, but and Nina, you and your husband are invited as well. And by all means, shoot a message to your buddies. Kemala Bruja and the other Brujas over
Oh, for
at
sure.
Ojo de Fortuna.
Ojo de Fortuna.
Ojo de Fortuna. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Fortuna.
I'm not a naturalist.
You do good though.
Thank you. What's their address there? I forget.
I don't know their address. I can actually look
It's
it
actually
up.
Ashland and whatever.
See, you're better at that. Like
Okay.
I don't know.
While she's looking it up, so we can plug our friend here, I wanted to announce that tomorrow night, since it is the 5th anniversary of Magic Radio Chicago, I will be hanging out at my usual hangout. Many people don't know about it. I'm a longtime regular at the Gallery Cabaret. Live music, comedy, pretty much every single night of the week. And on Sundays at about 7 or 8ish, they have a buffet for its patrons. That's right, you can like chow into some barbecue or whatever. All you need to do is just buy a beer or two and join the club.
Okay.
So tomorrow I shall be at the Gallery Cabaret at 2020 North Oakley. That's around the corner from Armitage and Western. And Bill Morton from the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce and former ghost hunter will be there as well. So he said he'd buy me an anniversary of beer. I was
Nice.
like,
He's
"Great."
everywhere, huh?
He's all over the place,
everywhere.
yeah.
He's a social butterfly.
He is. He always gets around.
Bill.
So me and Bill will be there. Nina, of course, you and your husband are more than welcome to join me.
Awesome.
You know, and please give a shout out to the Brujas if they want to drop
For
by.
sure.
You know, I'll text you the address later if you guys can make it. That's great.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I actually have the address right here for Ojo de Fortuna.
Ojo de Fortuna.
Yes. So that is 2024 South Ashland Avenue. That's 2024 South Ashland Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. And that's the Botanica that recently opened up here in our local area, Ojo de Fortuna. We did an interview with Shar about 2 weeks ago, and she's one of the owners there at that Botanica.
I believe we call her Kemala Bruja. Right?
Yeah, Que Mala Bruja.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So out there in Q4 land, if you feel like hanging out, looks like we're gonna be at the Gallery Cabaret tomorrow night, just chilling, and you can meet your favorite Q4 hosts. There's actually a few there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Actually, some of the hosts actually from Q4 actually hang at the gallery or from there. Val, who does the Val Leventhal show on Sunday mornings,
Nice.
she's a good friend of mine. You'll
Yeah.
like her a lot. A good woman.
Oh.
And she used to perform there all the time.
Really?
I haven't seen her so much lately, but I mean, I know she doesn't live that far from there either.
Right.
So she might. Oh,
Oh, there we
have
go.
a call.
I like that beat.
Traveling across the ether through the interwebs and here, Q4 Radio. You are talking to Magic Radio Chicago. What can I do for you? Hi, and who do we have? Oh, hello.
Hi. Oh, yes, we are. Every Saturdays, we're here. We're here for you, Mrs. Julio Jones.
Welcome. So what's up? So what's up? What's your question?
Uh-huh. Right. Oh, for sure. A CTM. That was CTM?
I'm sorry. Can you elaborate? What is CTM?
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
Like from a factory? Okay. 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 So did you end up finding the color that it was that you were looking for? Okay. Okay, so here's the witchy tip that I have for you. You do not have to get, okay, so say you're looking for a brown candle or a blue candle or a red candle and you cannot find the color that you are looking for, get a white candle. just a white, you could use a white taper candle. I usually recommend using a taper candle. If you wanted to, you could use a tea light or a ritual candle, but pick up whatever candle, and most of the botanicas usually have some type of white candle. Get the candle. You can go to a Dollar Tree, get a box of crayons, and literally pick out the color that you are drawn to in the box of crayons and melt that crayon on top of the candle while you are speaking your intentions or putting your intentions into the work that you're about to do. And that candle will be even more powerful than actually buying a brown colored candle or a blue colored candle by just doing that alone, because you're actually dressing it with that color, with that intention, and you can focus that color that you're dripping onto it, you can focus that as the energy that you are feeding that candle. Yeah, and you can also use glitter too. You can buy like different colors of glitter. I love using glitter. I'm very crafty when it comes to my actual witchcraft, which is why, like, even when I spell it out, I put a capital C, because I literally incorporate crafting into my witchcraft. So you can put together your own colored intention candle, even if you wanted to do a couple colors. So if you wanted to do something like for grounding and protection, you could use brown and black and melt those together and actually dress it with that intention of that color. And also, so when you burned this candle, I assume this was a jar candle? Okay, did you write anything on the glass before lighting it? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. So, and when you put the petition paper under the candle, did you fold it in pieces, like into a small piece, or was it just laying flat? It's taped on the candle, on the bottom of it? On the front of it? Okay, so burning to one side, you said it burned more towards or it had wax remnants more towards the right? Okay, so when you put your petition, what was more towards that side of your petition? Leaning more towards the right side of the petition paper? Okay. Okay, so here's another tip that I'm gonna give to you. So get some Sharpies, and when you get one of these jar candles, write your intentions all over the jar candle. They can be big words, they can be very small and detailed. You can even do symbols or sigils all over the candles, because then that helps you to be able to read them a little bit better. It kind of gives you a little bit more of a sense of like direction and where the messages are coming through from from your deities that you're working with, or the spirits you're working with, or even just from the divine or the universe. Your messages you'll be able to read them better if you have your intentions written around on the glass. And then that will give you the next step because I always say, because in spell work, that word work is like, it should be highlighted, because it's literally like, some people think like, oh, I'll do one spell and then they get frustrated when it's not manifesting quickly. But the thing is that it's literally called spell work because there's gonna be more things that have to be done. A lot of times, like, your first spell will give you a direction of what you're needing to work on in order to bring that thing closer, or to repel, if it's to bring something in or to repel something, that spell will give you a sense of direction of what you're needing to focus on next. So then, like, say for example you had stuff written all over your jar candle and there was a lot of wax remnants where you had good health, where you had written good health. There was just this chunk of wax, or there was this dark sooty spot, then that would be a sign right there that you're needing to focus on a health working. So then your next spell would be to attract good health. You get what I'm saying? it creates a plan for you, and it's always good to have a plan. It's good to plan things out, whether you're planning it with a certain moon cycle, a certain day of the week, whatever it is that you want to incorporate with this energy. You can literally have your own calendar for the spells that you're wanting to create, and when that energy will be more empowered, however it is that you want to do it. If you want to work with, a certain element or a day of the week, whatever you feel is going to bring that energy more power, and accelerate that energy that you're trying to draw in more.
I'll have to back up. I'll
Yeah.
have to back up Nina on that too, because she's the expert on candle magic. But from what I'm seeing here, common knowledge is that the kind of things that you make on your own, and you really put the time and effort into it, that is literally like you're literally charging the object.
Yes.
I've known some very learned ceremonial magicians who have to have the coolest robes and have like a magical lamen and this very elaborate, very sturdy, wand and the whole setup. They have to all the candles. They have to have all the toys that look really great on your altar, but they put no effort into making it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, they their power comes from a regimen, and there's something to be said for that too. That's something to stick to. But just having those instruments alone doesn't guarantee magic. But if you go through the effort of actually making these things, everything you make is yours, and the energy that you use that is let off when you work these things, it's all you.
Yeah.
So I would
Definitely.
have to back up Nina on that. Anything you make would be much more powerful than anything you can get from the store.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now the question is, should I let it burn or should I dig it out the extra way?
Are you planning on doing more workings inside that jar?
Yeah, it's kind of still going now.
Oh, it's still going? Okay, so completely let it, just let the spell just complete itself, and then after the candle is completely done, like don't dig it out or anything like that, but after that candle is completely done, then you can kind of try to read the wax by seeing if it formed the shape of anything, and see what it is that your intuition picks up within that shape of that wax that's left over. If you have remnants of wax left over, I always tell people that you can then scrape it out, and you can actually add it with your petition paper into a mojo bag and continue to do workings with it. You could even take that leftover wax, remelt it, and drip it onto another candle to continue your spell. If you feel like you're needing to still continue with it, you would use that energy, and it's almost like charging the next candle with that same, so you're not really starting over with the energy that you've already built up in this candle. You're just, it's continuing it, and you're feeding that other candle with that same energy.
That's pretty inventive. I'd never even heard of that.
Yeah.
Actually using drippings from the previous candle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's actually pretty clever.
I had this money candle that worked so good for me. It was actually a harvest. It was a harvest candle, and I don't know, something with the wick or something, the way it was made. It didn't burn all the way completely down, but I knew that the spell worked because of how things started to manifest. So what I actually did was I saved that chunk of wax, I labeled it in a jar, and I used it to feed my money candles throughout the year. So, and it worked. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Did that answer your question, Melly? Sorry, not Melly. Mrs. Jones?
Yes, yes. Yes, you did answer my question, and thank you guys so very much.
Thanks so much for calling.
I was thinking to myself, like, maybe, like, I don't know, or should I, should not do it, but once it already finished, I'm going to see how it looks.
Yeah. Yeah, see how it looks, and see what comes to you, and even pay attention to what day the candle finally finishes, what number of that day that is. You can look into numerology too to find out what the symbolism is behind that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all things said and done, call us back. Let us know how.
Yeah, let us know what happens next Saturday. We'll be here.
Let us know how it went. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to call y'all every day, but I can't.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully I will talk to you guys next Saturday.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Yeah, next Saturday we have Adam Selzer on. He is the tour guide and founder of Mysterious Chicago Tours, and he's going to be here talking about haunted locations throughout Chicago. That'll be
Yeah,
pretty
that would
cool.
be awesome.
Yeah. And it looks like we.
I lived in Chicago for 2 years.
Oh, it's way haunted.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. And we look forward to talking with you next weekend.
Yep.
You guys know what's left.
All right, blessed
See ya.
be.
Blessings. All right. Now it looks like we got a question from Melly back on YouTube. She says, "Question for the panel: Is a petition necessary, and why?"
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what she's getting at.
A petition. Okay, so a petition for me, a petition it would be when you're. It's a way of asking for something. When you're writing down, like when you write down what it is that you're petitioning. So to petition the divine or the universe or your spirits, when you're doing a spell and you're writing a petition, it's almost a way of asking. So there's every witch and every practitioner that I know of has a different way of doing things, or even switches it up depending on the spell that they're doing. But there's petitions, there's affirmations, there's incantations. Am I saying that right?
Incantations.
Incantations. There's so many things. There's even chanting. So there's a lot of ways, and just putting a petition would be a way of prayer. Where you're asking for something to happen. Some people say, that you don't do that because when you ask for it, it takes longer to manifest. You say affirmations because they put that energy and that vibration out there for it to come to you faster. But the thing is that when you're working with certain spirits and certain deities, it's more respectful that you petition than to affirm something. To affirm something to some deities would come off as almost like if I said, DK, pass me that mouse. You know what I'm saying?
And I'd be,
Like, give me that. I have that mouse. Give it to me. You know?
and I'd be like, get it yourself.
Yeah. Like that's how some deities would be like, are you asking me to hand it to you? You know? Like, so petitioning, affirmations, things like that is just an energy that you are putting with your spell. Petitions are more in a way of asking, whereas affirmations are a way of saying that you already have this thing, which is fine if you're not working with certain deities and you're just working with your own personal power and your own personal energy of being a manifester. But if you're petitioning a certain deity, it's more proper to ask in a kind way of petitioning for something that you're wanting.
And mind your manners.
Yeah, mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
With
You
some
don't want
of
to take
them.
off any deities.
Yeah, True.
I don't know if you know anything about like ancient history or Greek mythology or those things. That
Right.
old school gods, they didn't play.
Right.
They didn't. I mean, you've heard the stories like, let's say, back in ancient Greece, some beautiful girl in toga was kind of feeling full of herself and bragged that she's even better looking than Aphrodite, and that generally doesn't end well.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Aphrodite would be like, "Oh, really?
Let me disfigure you. Like,
Yeah. Now you're
see,
not."
let's see how good you look now. Right.
Yep. All right. So on that note, why don't we just take a quick musical segue, and when we
Sounds
come back,
good.
we'll continue. And you're listening to Magic Radio Chicago, streaming live from Q4.org, the station that creates beauty and defends it with magic.
Oh, you did it. Good shit. You did it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yay! You guys get to
Well, what I
what?
did was, our mics are still live, but I turned these all the way down, so they're not getting any volume.
Oh, good.
So now we don't. So now, yeah. So it's all good.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Figured
See,
out a
so you
trick.
guys here on YouTube, you guys get to like watch when we're on our musical break. So if you guys even have like other, if you guys have any suggestions for when we come back of things that you guys want to know about, whether it be from DK or me or just our theories or ways of looking at things or whatever, you guys can go ahead and comment and leave your questions.
Let's see. This is right in my face, but that's okay. I'll live.
Oh, I know. Oh, there we go.
All right. To answer your question, yes, buffet tomorrow at Gallery Cabaret at 2020 North Oakley. Myself, Nina, Bill Morton, and a bunch of cool hip people will be there. And there's beer and a buffet, so come on by.
Yes. And we're also doing Pagan Pride too. Pagan Pride.
That's right.
We got to come back and talk about
Oh, we're
that.
gonna announce that. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
got to talk about that.
So that's
I'm
gonna be
excited
here.
for that.
I was asked to help organize it, and
Yeah?
I don't mean like control it. I mean represent Q4 and be here as they bring in stuff and help them to set up and make
Nice.
sure like everyone's behaving.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I was asked to help do that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna have like a staff shirt on?
I don't know. Maybe.
That'd be cool.
Maybe that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, so that people know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey kid, don't touch that.
Right? Totally.
Oh, look at Mary Jane said, did he say buffet?
That's exactly it.
Yes.
That's right. Yes, I did. And I'll
We
tell you
love
something
us
else.
some
The
buffets.
guy at the bar who does the buffet, he can working that grill is his magic.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean he's pretty normal as far as it goes, but when you see him work the grill and you taste his food, and food for like dozens of people, trust me, it's magic. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you there. I did say buffet.
Awesome.
Yeah. And right now I'm actually playing like our first ever theme song.
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah, Breath of Life.
Oh. This is from like your first ever? That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this was the theme that that Summer picked.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. I like all the ravens and stuff around her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a daring actress though too, because she'll do a lot of work, and she's a stunning woman. But I mean, remember she was in Monster. She won an Oscar for that. She shaved her eyebrows off, let herself go to hell, and she gained a bunch of weight, and she didn't wear any makeup for the role because she wanted to look like what is it, Marianne Warrenos, the prostitute who was killing people.
Oh.
That's in Florida. That was that's what the movie Monster was about. It was a true story.
Really?
Yeah, and she played her, and she won an Oscar for it.
Ah.
Because I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but she let herself go because she wanted to be for
She
the
was
role.
dedicated. Like,
Absolutely.
She was dedicated. She was on that.
Yeah, and it was a good movie too.
Yeah, Mary Jane said, oh yes, that's a good movie.
Scary. I mean, maybe let's get sad.
Aw.
Sad and messed up, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she really did a good job on that. She won that Oscar. Yeah.
That's awesome. She earned that. She was letting herself go and everything, like
Yeah.
shaving her eyebrows and stuff.
Yeah,
I remember when it was like the
if
thing.
you
to
look up the
shave.
stills in the movie, you
Yeah?
won't recognize her. She's entirely different looking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have to check her out. I'm like so bad with like names and stuff, of remembering names of people and actresses and all that other stuff. Nice.
This is the Cocteau Twins.
The Cocteau Twins. That's what you were
Don't you
talking
like
about earlier.
the beginning of the disclaimer? I'm using this track in the background. At the beginning of our disclaimer
Are
on
you?
every show, yeah.
Oh.
That little da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh yeah.
If you listen closely, they're not saying anything. Well, they are, but they're not saying any words. They're just pronouncing sounds, which is brilliant.
That's right. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, so like if you listen, it's very melodic.
You guys let me know if it's picking up the music from the headphones. Cause I don't want it to like, the Saturday that I recorded, I had to like edit it because we were getting copyright flags.
Yeah, we gotta try to avoid that.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to, far away, okay, yeah, they hear it far away. Can you turn it down on here?
Not really.
Or is that over there?
The voice for the volume for the headsets is right there under the action
Cool.
figures.
All right, I'm gonna go do that real quick. You guys talk to DK because I gotta use the Twilight ski. I'll be back.
That was an interesting mixing of genres right there. the Twilight ski.
The Twilight ski, which is that number?
All right. Now we're gonna come back. We're gonna play another song after this, and then we're gonna come back in about maybe 5 minutes or more. And when we do, you feel free to call us at 312 985-7834. Wow, your camera is utterly unforgiving. I look really scuzzy.
Oh, stop it.
Oh my God, I've seen better days.
What's the number of my headphone set?
You are, well, here,
I'm
just
4, right?
just do this.
Oh, follow the line.
Yep,
Oh,
cord.
follow the
Should be
cord.
right under there.
Is it going up or down?
I'll find out in just a second. Just, Yeah, it's lower in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's the same volume it's been at, but yours is lower. And this is what they're probably hearing, is the headsets that are right by the mics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what they're picking up on. Oh, somebody said something, and I missed it entirely.
Scroll. Yeah, there, here, you can see right here.
Oh, Mary Jane, you're very kind. You are most welcome at our party tomorrow.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm gonna go use the restroom.
All right. So while we're taking a break here on Magic Radio Chicago, please feel free to give us some questions so we can try to answer them or we can try to refer you. Also, a reminder here at Q4 Radio, Q4 Radio, we're going to be hosting Greater Chicagoland Pagan Pride. That's going to be here, and it's going to be at Q4 Radio this year at 2643 West Chicago Avenue. And again, that's 2643 West Chicago Avenue. And the event, well, let's take a look. When is this event going to happen? Now, that's going to be September 28th here at Q4 Radio. And I'm going to switch this out one moment. All right. So, Greater Chicagoland Pagan Pride is going to be taking place on September 28th. So mark that date. That starts at 10 a.m. and it will be going on until 3 p.m. here at Q4 Radio. You can meet me as well as Nina and several other of your favorite Q4 hosts, and we'll all be here. So there is that. Okay, now do we have any other? No voice. Okay. Yeah, Oh, Big Fish. Okay, I see now. Somebody said, I remind you of the ringmaster from Big Fish. Danny DeVito? Really? Someone just compared me to Danny DeVito.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, not that that's not... Actually, Danny's pretty cool, so that's all right, but...
Right.
Yeah, but on the other hand, somebody said, I remind them of the ringmaster from the movie Big Fish.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Well, the movie did make me cry. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
so
I
guess.
haven't seen it.
Then Danny DeVito's a werewolf.
Oh.
Yep. Okay, and you're back.
Well, see, that's a compliment.
Yeah. And I was just telling them we're gonna have Pagan Pride here at Q4.
Nice.
Yeah, so you'll get to see us there.
Oh.
And while we're on a music break, I'm playing something, the remake of White Rabbit,
Oh, nice.
in honor of your upcoming ball.
Aw, thank you. Thank you, DK. Oh, we could, do you want to come back and talk about this book? Have you looked into it yet?
No, I have not, but you can if you
No?
want. We can touch
Okay.
on it.
You
we
want
should
to
do
touch
regular
on
book
it?
reviews. Someone wants to know, do I have any hobbies? Several. I have many useless hobbies that don't put a dime in my pocket and just really keep me distracted. But do I have any hobbies? Yes, yes I do. This being one of them is just working live on radio, even though I don't make any money at this. So I guess you'd have to call this
It's
my hobby.
a good hobby, though. It's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy our hangouts. And
Yeah, me too.
Talking to people.
It's a fun experience, you know.
For sure. That was a good question. Thank you, cuz. It's my cousin. Oh, she said I enjoy it too.
Okay. What does she enjoy exactly?
Probably listening to us.
Oh, well, I hope so.
I think.
We are here to entertain and
That's what we do.
enlighten and all that.
Yeah. So, I don't know, do you want to talk about yesterday's energy? Did you have any
Oh.
vibes?
You really want to hear my thoughts on Friday the 13th?
Is this
really
radio
wanna know?
appropriate or is this behind the scenes
Well,
appropriate?
I can try to reel myself in
Clean it
before
up on the radio?
before I go too far. Yeah, but, yeah, I have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, Valley said yesterday's vibes was lit for sure. I loved yesterday's. Oh my god, I did some cord cutting work and also
Please, I'm sorry, continue. I'm just
Oh.
pointing that out. Go on, please.
So I did some cord cutting work and it was amazing because I did it. My working and like I don't really share a lot of my workings that I got going on because of like the energy. I just want the energy to stay. I don't want to feel like somebody else's thoughts or opinions or something is gonna somehow affect what it is that I have going on. But yesterday my working, I didn't use anything. I didn't use any tools. The only tool that I used was myself, and that was it. And it was amazing. Like, and I think I'm gonna share it because it was just. I felt like it was like one of the most powerful workings that I did because when you get to the point where you don't really need to use tools, that's when you know that you're like your magic is like you're just yourself, like you just have yourself. Like, so if there was nothing else that existed in the world and you were able to do a spell with just your own two hands or your own energy or your own aura or whatever the case may be, like that's some powerful work. So I did do some workings yesterday and the energy was off the chain.
Okay,
Are we
we'll have to
coming
come
back?
back, yes.
Okay.
All right.
Hey guys, and you are back. You are listening to Q4.org, Magic Radio, the place that creates beauty and defends it with magic.
Yeah, all of the above is true.
All of the above.
All of the above. It all happens here, the magic. Now, this has been a really interesting thing working for Q4 Radio for the last 5 years. You know, it's a non-for-profit, it's an arts and activism kind of radio station. You meet all kinds of people, you know, and it really does show like the art and beauty and just the things people can accomplish when they come together. And even though so many people are different, it's like we've done the Q4 tour here. You actually recorded it and televised it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see the art and just the
It's
interesting
amazing.
tapestry of stuff going on here.
Yeah.
You know? And people of all walks of life. It's something to be embraced.
And there's so much of it. Like you literally like look in one spot and you know, if it's a new, either a new display or just something that didn't catch your eye at one point, but there's always something new that I see every time I come here, and I've been here like, I don't know.
Do you want to take your camera real quick and
How many
you don't have to
times?
do anything elaborate, but just pan this wall.
Pan the wall?
Yeah, you don't even have to like undo anything. You just,
Okay.
just give our listeners a quickie view of the wall here. What people don't understand is here at Q4 in the studio, the wall is actually done in this paint that is literally like chalkboard. So the wall literally becomes a chalkboard. And then every few months, all the hosts at Q4 Radio actually just take some chalk and just start doing art all over it. And then they just, every few months, they'll wipe it off and do it again. So, did you get a view of that for the audience?
Yeah, I'm like right now going around. Everyone's kind of just seeing like what we got. Like I just did like a full 360. I'm bringing it back to us now. Oh wait, hold on. Gotta show the. Wait, that's not getting it. There we go.
See, there's a stage right over there where people do a lot of live music, and here at Q4 you'll see live Facebook feeds from Q4 regularly whenever they have bands in here.
Yeah, definitely check out Q4.org, you guys. There's some amazing local artists. Oh my gosh! Like I just heard one. I was watching one of the shows the other day. They were called Savila. Did you hear them?
I'm not familiar with it, no.
Oh my gosh! I've been just checking out. There was another guy on here that did jazz music, and you guys, just the talent that's here in Chicago and the city. It's like. It's amazing how much talent, and even the local artists that I know some amazing local artists, tattoo artists, painters, just so many different kinds of artists, musical artists. It's amazing. Like we have some really really talented people here in Chicago, and that's like one of the things that I love most about being here, about being a Chicagoan, is that we have so much talent. It's so much talent, so much diversity, so much acceptance.
It's such a unique city.
It is very, very.
I mean, yeah. Before we continue, we had a question here. Let's see. Somebody was asking, did you get any Friday the 13th tattoos? No, I didn't.
No, I didn't either.
No,
I
can't say that I
didn't.
did. No.
Yeah, no. You know, I actually want to get a Freddy tattoo though.
Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, he's my favorite. He's my
That's
most favorite.
Kind of cool.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I want to get his glove. I don't know where,
Oh,
but I'm
you
gonna
can
get
get that.
his
You can get that
glove.
at a costume store. You can
Yeah.
get it from online, easy.
No, I want to get it tattooed on my body.
His glove?
Yeah.
Do you want it like ripping through your skin or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Oh, neat.
Right?
Oh,
I
you're
know.
hardcore like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I love that. So
Cool.
he's happening somewhere on my body, but I'm not really into well, I guess if we're talking about energy wise, Friday the 13th, but if we're talking about like horror, Jason's not really my favorite. Who would be your favorite?
That's a tough one. Yeah, Freddy's got the most personality.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
he always gets the best little one-liners.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just mischievous. He's mischievous. And He
Yeah.
just loves it.
Yeah, and I love that you eventually have to go to sleep. Like,
Yeah, right. It
You
just-
eventually have
you
to
have
sleep.
to fight yourself to stay away from him. And
Right.
It's a losing battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I really did enjoy Freddy versus Jason because I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
it got the best of both worlds and it made sense.
Yeah, it
And
did.
it made sense that there'd be natural enemies because, in short, Freddy Krueger was a child killer,
Uh-huh.
and Jason was the victim of child abuse or neglect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's water and fire. They're natural enemies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
You know?
definitely. Yeah,
So
water and fire too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they made a
true.
big deal about that in the
That was
movie.
like, yeah,
Yeah, like if you wanted to subdue Jason, you just surround him in water,
right,
and then he freaks out and he freezes.
right. And it's like the elements, like the
Right,
elements
there
were
was that
what
too.
killed them.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
But-
amazing.
Yeah, but yesterday was Friday the 13th for everybody out there who's fond of that date. It's a pet peeve of mine, to be perfectly honest. I'm not gonna try to go on a rant about it. I'll try not to bum anyone out. But the fact is that people don't understand the history behind it. Friday the 13th is not a spooky holiday at all. Now, you know, summer is turning into fall. Yesterday was a very significant and powerful full moon, and I'm not.
Oh, yes.
The vibes were out there. Don't get me wrong, okay. But the fact that a full moon happens on a Friday the 13th is literally of no significance to me at all.
No,
Nope.
but it's like rare though. It's like
It's rare, but it's like saying I don't know, like this major event happened on your birthday.
yeah, but
know?
I think even just the number 13 though. The number 13 is a very magical number.
Now, what is so magical about 13 exactly?
13 for me, 13 is one of the most magical numbers because like you could literally, the energy of 13 is you can manifest whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest, but at the same time you can banish or get rid of or repel anything that no longer serves you. So that energy I just completely incorporated into my work yesterday, and like, you know, I was just explaining to Mrs. Jones, like you can incorporate the day of the week, the energy of that day, the deity that works with that day, you know, and then the number of the day as well. So there was the number of the day of the week, the moon. It was like there was just so many things, you know, like, yeah.
Well, that explains 13 to me as well. Okay. Just because I've heard that, but I'm not a numerologist, so I
Yeah.
don't specifically know what the symbolism is of it
Right.
all.
Some people
But-
think it's very like a bad luck number, but it's like
Yeah.
black cats too. Like some people think that black
Black cats are awesome.
Yeah, black cats are freaking amazing. For a witch to see a black cat, that's actually good luck for us.
My grandmother used to have a black cat named Jinx,
Oh,
and Jinx didn't like anybody at all,
Really?
except my grandmother.
oh.
I really do think that Jinx was my grandmother's familiar because,
Yeah.
I mean, for my grandmother, Jinx was a lap cat, 100% and then some. To the rest of us, we were all just moving pieces of food. You know, we were either
Clawing posts.
yes, we were just walking clawing posts. I mean, I have distinct memories of being like like less than, maybe not even quite 2 years old, and having to run through my grandparents' house with Jinx hot on my tail, swiping at my ankles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that little cat was a terror.
And their teeth are like needles.
They can be.
I feel like
yeah.
a cat bite is worse than a dog bite.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, too, okay, that's superstition. We're talking about Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, real witches probably won't be super really, like, into that, because most people don't know about the history of Friday the 13th and where it came from. And that's where things get a little complex. We're going back like 600 to 700 years. And what it was it was the religious story of the Knights Templar. Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that. That the modern version of the Masons and the Rosicrucians, which was another Masonic order, claim lineage from the Knights Templar. Who are the Knights Templar? Well, that's a really good question, and that's a very long subject. In fact, I guess, you know what? I'm sorry, I just reminded myself of something, and I got lost in thought for a second.
What?
No.
That was like a quick second. Like
I know. Here's where I'm going with this, though. Before I continue about the Knights Templar, I should have said this at the beginning of the show. As long as I'm going on the subject, I would like to, since it's our 5th anniversary, and since I'm about to at least touch on as well as I can without trying to mess up everyone's history, I'd like to dedicate tonight's show to my old friend, James Hathaway. He was my friend's father back in the day, I'd say nearly 20 years ago. I met his daughter at a job, and we became instant best friends, and we hung out all the time, and her dad totally wanted to adopt me. I'm serious. He's probably one of the few people in my life that actually that behaved like he wanted me as his child. You know, he really, like, the ideas I had, and I mean, he was much more accomplished than I was, college graduate, all that, and he was a Mason for at least 3 decades, maybe 4 decades. He was all over the country. He was all over the country. He was all over the state. He would host and hold events and rituals for the Masons. He tried to recruit me over and over. He wanted me to join the Masons. He wanted to see Drew Prince as a Mason, but. And it was kind of interesting, too, because I was a member of the OTO at one point. As some of our listeners will know, they see. Can they see my ink? I don't know.
Turn it.
I don't know. But yeah, I'll let you guide me.
There you go.
Okay, where am I?
Right in here. You can see it right there.
It's not a requirement to join the order to get a tattoo, but I'm saying it's just part of my magical education. So I like how you just outlined it, too.
Right.
So anyway, yes, it was kind of cool because he dragged me to this initiation for the Masons, and his daughter. I don't know if you know this, but when your father is a Mason, the women are not necessarily allowed to enroll in the main role of Masons, but their families and extended friends or whatever, they can join associated groups. So my friend was a daughter of Job.
Oh.
That is the name of a group that is like the Daughters of Masons.
Why is it that women can't join like how men?
I really don't know for sure. I mean, it is basically a Christian-themed organization, and it is also basically dominated by men, and it's been so for a very long time. So I can only imagine that's the only real reason why. It's probably tradition.
All right.
That's the way it was set up to begin with, and they probably just haven't really rewrote the books yet.
Right, staying true to tradition. I get that.
Yeah, but I mean, times change too. Maybe they should update. But I'm not a member. I have no stake in this, so I'm just telling you what I know.
Right.
But it was kind of cool how we went far. We went super duper far. It took hours for us to drive there, and when we did, we went to this initiation. It was a ritual of some kind, and when we got to the door, they were announcing us at the door, and so James Hathaway brought us there, and his daughter walked up, and they were announcing everybody, he comes up here, they have someone at the door, and they announce your names, and they go, James Hathaway of this lodge, this order, blah blah blah, this rank. Okay. And then his daughter come up, his daughter, Aurora Hathaway, member of Daughter of Job, and then I came up, and then they go, Andrew Prince, member of the Ordo Templi Orientis. And that's kind of like, oh wow, I feel like all official now.
Right.
Although I was pretty much non-practicing by that point because I was a Thelemite, but just life got in the way, and my education and career took me elsewhere.
Right.
So I wasn't really practicing, although it is a large part of my magical education.
Nice.
But it was kind of cool to go up and be acknowledged as that. you know.
Right.
And then I had all these old timers coming up to me later, like all these old women and old men. He really wants you to join. Like they were just aching for some new blood. you know?
Right. Right.
So I guess if you want to join the Masons, look up your local lodge and learn about them and do your reading and join. But before I continue, I wanted to dedicate tonight to James Hathaway, who had succumbed to long suffering illness. He had a long battle with cancer for many years, and it finally took its toll.
Aw.
To the best of I was not there at that time, but to the best of my knowledge, he went out very bravely, very content, and now he's at peace. And thank you for inviting me and welcoming me into your life, into your world, for sharing ideas with me, for constantly trying to get me to join the Masons, trying to help me find some structure in my life. Thank you for that. And I wish I had visited you more often. I'm sorry, but I hope wherever you are resting in peace and in power. Now, that being said, he once gave me a book called it was like the history of the Knights Templar.
Oh.
And the idea is that 600 to 700 or more years ago, actually, maybe even a whole 1,000 years ago, there was a religious order sent by Rome to basically take over Jerusalem. I'm sure you've heard of the Crusades, where basically tons of Catholic soldiers went in and fought Muslims and took and keep in mind the Muslims lived there. This is their home.
Right. Right.
But the church said, well, Jesus is our God, so we have the right to go in and take over.
Right.
And they sent a crusading order of knights. And they also had to retouch their own history. They had to refib a little bit because in order to recruit people for these crusades, which is really just wars, just pillaging,
Right.
they did reverse the order. The church actually did reverse the order with the Ten Commandments. You think that's written in stone, literally. But what they said was that you can kill as long as you're doing it for God. Because at that point, everyone was so strict Catholic, but I can't kill. God said in the Ten Commandments right there. I
Right.
can't cheat on my wife. I can't do this, that, or the other. And killing's a big one,
Right.
And they're like, well, but you're doing it for church and for your country and for the Pope, and most of all, you're doing it for Jesus.
Right.
So you go out there and you do your thing. So the Knights Templar went off, and for 200, maybe 300 years, they fought the Muslims. They took over Jerusalem. They established the first international system of banking. They created checks.
Oh, of course.
Back then, everybody rode horses. In fact, the Knights Templar were they're monks.
Oh.
They're priests, but they're also fighters. And their symbol was actually a picture of two crusading knights on one horse, sharing a horse, to emphasize that they are not only ready for battle, but they're also poor. They have to share their resources.
Wow.
So, the long and the short of it is that after a long time of securing, the Middle East for Jerusalem, for the church, they also acted as escorts. A lot of people were going on pilgrimages to Jerusalem, and that's the desert. You could get killed, or you could die, or you could get eaten by animals, or most likely get robbed and killed, which happens a lot.
Oh, right.
Because you're in the middle of nowhere, and they would escort people into Jerusalem. They would follow you. You'd go on their trail. You'd go along with the Templars as they went down into Jerusalem, and they would defend you and fight you and try to save you. And it spurred a whole mythology. You can look them up. There's myths of the adventures of the Knights Templars, where you hear about this, a knight going around and saving a damsel in distress, and he doesn't want anything special more because he's a priest. He doesn't want, no, I don't want any money. I don't want any loving or anything like that. I just want to do right.
Right.
Yeah, and they became legendary that way.
Wow.
There was also rumors of things they'd learned over the centuries, all the pillaging they did, all the sacred texts they've stolen, and they sent it all back to Rome. All of it. They sent all of it back to Rome. They became incredibly wealthy, and they invented checks in order, because their network had spread out so far, where if you, let's say, were on your way to Jerusalem, but you're gonna get robbed, it's you can't be carrying all this tons of stuff.
Right.
But what you could do is you could deposit it with the Templars, and then they'll send it to Jerusalem, but they'll stamp you a special document that only the Templars know, with their own code or seals and all that. And then let's say you're past Jerusalem, you're way off in the boonies, and you're at the edge of wherever the Templars' territory is. And you say you go to Rome, and you say like, I ran into the Templars, they're holding money for me. Here's my check, here's my receipt, and they'll go and get you that much worth of gold.
Oh, wow.
So they invented the whole system of banking, but the Templars did not actually do any kind of like money holding. They didn't do that. Now, Prince Philip of France. Let's get to him, shall we? Prince Philip of France and Pope Clement V. For some weird reason, I think it's still speculative, Prince Philip decided that, you see, he owed a lot of money to the Templars and to the church, like a ton of money.
Oh, wow.
And there was a rival order called the Knights Hospitallers. That's where we get the word hospital from. And there was some.
I didn't know that.
I'm a little fudgy on the details, but the long and the short of it is, they reached some deal with the Knights Hospitallers, and Prince Philip declared that he started making up false charges.
Oh.
And he decided that the Knights Templars are heretics and witches, and they've spit on the cross and I don't know, kissed their asses, on the butt, their donkey on the butt.
Right. Oh, okay. I was about to bell you right now. Like I'm about to hit that bell.
So I'm saying,
He meant like the donkey.
Just making up. Prince Philip is just making up all this stuff about it. But also keep in mind that during the early years of the church, poor people weren't allowed to read. The clergy were for sure, priests were, and if you were rich, like if you were a nobleman or if you were a queen or a king or a duke or whatever, you could read. Everybody else was not allowed to read because they didn't want you to know what God knows, because then you might read books on witchcraft. Right?
Right.
Yeah. We don't need that. So, Prince Philip decided that the Knights Templars are nothing but heretics. They're all bad people. They are planning to overthrow the church. They're doing all sorts of badness. So he had a talk with the Pope, and the Pope went along with it. I don't know what they did or how they enticed them, but basically the Pope said, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's dismantle our entire structure of all these knights we have everywhere defending our church, and we're just going to replace them with the Knights Hospitallers, and you can do whatever you want with the Knights Templars.
Oh, wow.
Now, for everyone out there who's a big fan of Star Wars, you may remember episodes 1 through 3. Order 66. Order 66, in a nutshell, think of it this way. Think of the Jedi Knights. George Lucas loves to take little pages from history. So what you had on your hands was a crusading order of magical priests who are poor, and they're dedicated to truth, justice, democracy, and servitude to the Force. And then they're betrayed by their own government and literally wiped out almost overnight. Like in a short period of time, they're wiped out and betrayed by their own people. This is the story of the Knights Templars. And, in Star Wars episode whatever, I mean, you're not a sci-fi fan, but if you followed episodes 1... the geeks out there in Q4 land, they know what I'm talking about. Basically, it's the Jedi Knights, and they were cool with the government, and they were cool with democracy, and then they were betrayed by their own leaders and wiped out, eliminated. And the big order in Star Wars was Order 66, but you could liken that. It's basically the Knights Templars, and then the order for their arrest was put out on Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Yes. Then at some point, Jacques de Molay, who was the leader of the Knights Templars, he was eventually captured and brought in. Him, like every single Templar they got their hands on, they actually were tortured and tortured and tortured, sometimes for years, until they could confess. Like, whatever you say,
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I kissed my donkey in the butt, and we hail Satan. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. Just stop torturing. Stop cutting me open. Stop burning me. Stop doing all that.
Right.
Yeah. So this is all done overnight. Now this order was sent out on Friday the 13th, and many, many, many hundreds, possibly even thousands of Templars were killed.
My God.
There are legends. Some did escape. Most people think a handful of knights got away to Scotland and started their own order, and some people think that they held the Holy Grail.
Oh.
The cup that held Jesus' blood and is said to be miraculous.
Right.
You know, there's all sorts of these legends that popped up around the Knights Templar.
Right.
And the interesting thing, now, I don't know how true this is, but it is part of the legend, that when Jacques de Molay, when they tied him up and they were going to set him on fire, his last words were, he basically looked up at the Pope and he looked up at the Prince and he said, very soon I'll be standing next at the side of God in judgment of you.
Oh.
To their face.
Mic drop.
Well, and then you get burned. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So but hey, you went out with a bang, you know?
Right.
And then so did they.
Oh, wow.
Over the next, I don't know what the time frame we're looking at is, or even if it was on the same date as Friday the 13th, which that would be crazy if it was. If each time it happened, it was Friday the 13th. I don't know if it was. What I do know is that shortly afterwards, the Pope just dropped.
Wow.
Prince Philip dropped. And when that happened, everybody said, it's the curse of the Templars. Friday the 13th, beware it.
Oh, that's how it started.
Yep. Like 700 years ago. The thing is, though, that if you weren't a member of the Knights Templar, and if you're not Pope Clement V, and if you're not Prince Philip of France, or King Philip of France, that didn't apply to you whatsoever.
Right. Or if they weren't your ancestors.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't really. Yeah. It's not really a thing. It just over the decades and then the centuries, you know, so much ooga booga has been sent around. Ooh, watch out for Friday the 13th. You know, it's like now I'm a big fan of horror movies too. I love scary movies, and you know what, I enjoy a good Friday the 13th movie, but like now I'm like, why don't they just call it 9/11 now, right? It makes the same exact logic. One has nothing to do with the other whatsoever.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, so watching these movies, do you see anything that relates to this?
They just grabbed a name that sounds spooky.
Right.
You know, and how much they
and they're usually people that get killed when they're doing it. Like.
Well, you know that people say that's actually kind of like Christian culture bleeding into the genre, because you're basically being punished for enjoying sex.
Oh.
Jason is pure. He's a virgin. He's never known women.
Right. Well, he was a
He was a kid,
child
right,
that had like what was he?
He was a kid when he drowned.
Yeah, but he was like a special
Yeah, he was a special needs kid. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a special needs child.
He was deformed. And his mother was a stay-at-home mom, and she was always like.
And she wasn't she working in the like
She was the cook.
Yeah, the cook of
for the camp.
Yeah, for the camp.
In fact, yesterday on Facebook, I posted this thing. I love on YouTube that thing, like things like this movie like gets wrong, and they do a counter of all these things that are like don't make sense or stupid movies.
Right.
I love that. I
Right.
think it's hilarious. And I just posted one on my Facebook yesterday. It was like things that Friday the 13th got wrong. They did a number count. And one of them was, one of the last ones was that I thought was great was they showed like, you know, Mrs. Voorhees in the first movie Killing Steve, who was going to be the head counselor, and he was working on the camp all year and, you know, refurbishing it and then hiring everybody. And he was just, you know, he was the guy in charge.
Reopening it.
And then he's going there late at night, and then, you know, Mrs. Voorhees stabs him and he dies. I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's in full swing now of a Friday the 13th movie. And then the narrator said, wait a minute, why did she wait an entire year and stab him on the night before opening day? Why didn't she kill him like all year long, like all throughout the year when he was all alone fixing up the place by himself?
Right.
She could have killed him back then and saved everybody a lot of trouble.
Right.
You know?
Well, maybe she wanted the camp to be done. That way it'd be open, and then there'd be more victims.
Maybe.
That could be the other thing.
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the long and the short of it is if, you know, Friday the 13th was never meant to be a cutesy holiday. It's just kind of what happens when something is really horrific and mind-boggling, how these things can happen, and then over time you decrease the shock. You know, it goes from something horrific to something uncomfortable, then to something that you can kind of deal with because it's not your reality. And well, it happened, it's not my life, you know.
Right.
And then eventually it's not your life at all, so eventually it somehow devolves and becomes cute and quaint, and all the meaning's lost.
Yeah.
So any minute now, I'm waiting for them to come out with a serial killer movie where teenagers get their Mac on and get speared or whatever, and we'll call it 9/11, because that's got nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Right.
So I have just informed everybody about the Knights Templar, what I know about the history.
Just gave us a
Friday the
history
13th.
lesson right here on Q4.org,
Dun, 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 dun.
where we create beauty
And defend it.
with magic.
And spears and butcher knives, hockey masks, knife and gloves, and jury rig knife
Machetes.
gloves, knife gloves, and,
Yes.
the whole 9 yards.
Yes,
You got
all of it, all
You don't want
that.
to mess with our art.
Don't
No.
do it. Don't test our gangster. Don't test our radio gangster.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome, Mary Jane. I see Mary Jane on Facebook has just thanked us for the history lesson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanked you.
I should have actually written down notes or whatever. Because I know I'm just rambling.
No, it's good though. I mean, you know, you just enlightened. Even Desert Siren said, and here I thought Friday the 13th was inspired by the movie LMAO.
That's funny. That reminds me of the time I was having a conversation with somebody who was like, well, just dingy. And she was way into cosplay and she was way into, a steampunk.
Ah,
Yeah.
I
And-
like steampunk.
And she's a lot younger than me, so it was funny because she tried to sound all official. She goes, steampunk was originally created by when they were doing the artwork for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh.
And I'm just kind of looking at her smirking, and it's like, you so weren't there in the 80s, were you? No, I liked the movie. It was cute, it was fun, but it was a good ride. But it's not going to win an Oscar any day soon. And
Right.
It is a bit steampunky, but yeah, I would never say they were the originators
Right,
of steampunk at all.
right.
That's been around for a while.
Right.
It just kind of evolved out of the goth scene.
Yeah.
Just a little at a time when they became more theatrical.
Right.
But the contests, there's all kinds of stuff. Really.
Right.
Plus, there's usually vendors selling accessories.
Yeah.
So if there's things you want to pick for your, for your outfits or for your outfit next year, you can stock up.
Right.
Yeah. Are you having new vendors at your ball?
Not at the ball, but so normally it's like a one day event where it's just the witches ball, and so it's normally just a 1 day event, but I'm gonna do it up a little bit different this year, where we have so October 5th is gonna be the witches ball, and the fun thing about this is that have you ever seen Alice in Wonderland? Like, you've seen like the old school like Disney Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, and then I watched the Tim Burton version, which made me
Yeah.
kind of roll my eyes. I'm like,
So you know how the Mad Hatter has this tag in his hat that says 10-6?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, so well, I don't know. I really don't know what's up with that, but
Was it a hat size?
it was a hat size technically, but I don't know what why they chose 10-6, like what those numbers might represent. There might be, I mean, if anybody knows that, please feel free to share that with us here on YouTube. But the fun thing about that Witches Weekend is October 5th is going to be the Witches Ball, and then October 6th is the Witches Expo. So 10-6 is the next day event.
Oh, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
It's funny
Of
how there's things like
Wonderland.
that.
It's so crazy.
And here at Q4, like if you're involved, like Nina's only just discovering, but like it's weird how synchronicity just kind of like happens.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I mean this place is actually a good example of it because it attracts people from all over
Right.
for art and all sorts of stuff. So, do we have any more questions happening? I see that we got our Facebook, we've got our YouTube.
Yeah,
feedback.
we got our YouTube feedback here. My
I like
phone
how
had
YouTube
died.
makes, I like how YouTube makes sure to remind us to abide by their community standards and guidelines,
Right,
or privacy and all that,
right.
because they don't want us, I don't know, swearing or I don't know.
Oh, I curse a lot on my YouTube channel. On my personal one, they will know, and it's so funny because the first day that I came to co-host here at Magic Radio, I was actually talking about I do not know how I'm gonna do this. I do not know how I'm gonna make it through the show without saying a curse word, because you guys know my favorite word is the F word, and I use it to describe a person, a place, or a thing.
Fritters?
Fritters.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh, fritters.
Oh, fritters.
Fried,
Um,
baked.
Let's see. So if you guys have any questions, I'm kind of like looking here. But if you have any questions at all that you guys would like to ask us here on YouTube, because some of you guys might not want to call in, because I know that some of you guys are shy. So you can ask your questions here on YouTube. We are live on YouTube. You just type in House of Spiritual Vibes, and right there you guys can go ahead and ask your question in the stream, and we will answer it here on the air. But for those of you who are a little bit more confident and would like to call in and ask your question here on the show, you guys can call in to 312-985-7834.
That's right. It's 312-985-7834. Please call in.
Yeah, please call in. Please feel
And
free.
now I'm doing my George Takei impression.
Yes,
Oh
any
my.
somebody asked any questions. Yes, any
Anything worth mentioning on the
yeah,
air?
anything that's not like,
Like
too personal.
or crazy, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're
I guess.
well, I don't know. DK's
One of the
an
strangest
open book.
messages. I don't think you were there at the time, but I was doing a show one time, and one of the strangest messages I got was in Facebook. At some point, somebody sent me this thing. It was this long, drawn-out sentence in another language, and I had friends sitting in at the time. They weren't really on the show. They were just kind of sitting in the back watching us work. And one of them like took his phone and looked up Google Translate, and it basically was an order for a pizza
What?
in like Somali or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just like, why are you sending me this? Why?
Right.
What does this have to do with anything?
I ain't even gonna lie. Last week when I called, because I wasn't here last week, but last week when I called, I swear I wanted to act like I was about to order a pizza. Like,
I would have laughed.
would you have been?
I really have to put a shout out to Mrs. Jones out there, because she's probably one of the few callers I've ever gotten in 5 years who is an actual listener on Q4.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll invite friends to call in, and they never go into character. They never like, oh hi, I'm Mr. Smith and I have a question. No, they don't. They always go like, hey Drew, I'm calling. Hi, how you doing? Well, what should I ask?
Right.
You didn't have any questions?
What should I ask?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I'm like, really? Oh, God, no.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, getting your friends to call in and fake it doesn't usually work. Because they're not really good. Not hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that's actually pretty typical of a lot of radio shows, is that they get their friends or people they know to call in and just get in character and pretend
for
like they're a
sure.
stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a longtime fan, longtime listener. That'd be nice.
Right.
So far, Mrs. Jones is probably one of the few who's actually a listener.
Yeah, we need to send her a sticker, like a Q4 sticker, or maybe a T-shirt.
I should
or
put
something.
together a little surprise package or something, for Q4 listeners.
Yeah.
Giveaway.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I thought about doing, and I was actually going to ask you about it. We'll have to discuss it more, but I was even thinking about doing a witch's ball ticket giveaway.
Oh.
Here on Q4.
Why not?
I mean, we could do it.
Enter
We'll
Daddy,
talk
it's your
about.
man. Go for it.
Yeah, we'll put details.
Yeah,
you know?
that'd be great.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Like
would
the
be.
10th caller or something like that, or the 13th caller, since we're talking about the 13. So
Hello. Bella is asking us on YouTube, what's the craziest thing you ever did for Halloween?
ooh,
Okay, I'm curious who she's talking to. She could be
Okay.
talking to us. She looks like she's having a conversation with somebody else on the thread.
oh, she might be talking to Johnny Dragon.
Maybe.
That's all right. We'll answer it anyway. Go ahead, Drew.
Me? Oh.
I don't even know why.
It
I
depends
called
on what
that.
you
That
call
was so
crazy,
weird.
It really does depend. Like wild, sexy antics that you could only see in late night cable. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Been there on that.
You've been the scene of a Friday the 13th.
No, I have not done pre-killing.
Pre-killing.
Before the killing, yeah. We missed the whole Jason cameo part.
Right.
We missed that.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, looks like Bella doesn't know either. Johnny Dragon does not know if what's the craziest thing.
I think
Oh,
mine.
we can answer. Great.
Yeah,
Bella said we can answer. Okay.
Cool.
Me, that's a tough call. What if the craziest thing I ever did for Halloween? I don't know. I mean, I've gone to parties. My senior year in high school, I when you were a senior at my old high school, you were allowed to dress up for Halloween. You know,
Oh.
everyone else in the school wasn't, but for the seniors for Halloween were. And I went as Phantom of the Opera actually because I put together an outfit. I bought a very big flowing vinyl cape.
Nice.
I bought a half a mask, and I had like a tux and an outfit on, and. But people might not know this about me, but I used to be a big fan of special effects. Like I said, I love horror movies
Wow.
and stuff, and my dream was to become a special effects makeup artist.
Nice.
You know, so at the age of 18, I already knew a lot about how to use makeup. And I got up at 3 in the morning that Halloween and literally just like kept working and working and working until I had to leave the house at about 7.
Wow.
6 or 7, yeah. And the beauty part was when the mask came off, I had all this burn scar underneath all over my face. I totally like made myself look. My English lit teacher told me, "Will you please put that back on? You're making me sick."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, "Thank you. All right, mission accomplished." And then I went over to visit my girlfriend at the time, who I was 18, and
Did she like it? Like, was she digging it?
let me put it this way: my girlfriend at the time was very cute, very brilliant, hardworking, intelligent, and incredibly artistic goth. She was a Korean goth.
Oh,
And it was mad love. For
you
like a
probably
year.
impressed her. Impressed her very much with that.
We almost broke her bed.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't take off the costume or the makeup.
Oh my gosh, DK.
So then there's that. I don't know if
Wow.
you call that crazy.
Right.
We weren't really doing it for Halloween, but hey.
I think I actually heard that that's what a lot of like the cosplay some of the cosplay
Bella's
No,
like, nice.
Yeah. I know some of the cosplay some of my friends that do cosplay, I know that they've told me that a lot of them are really into that. Like I guess it spices things up. I mean, I
I
don't
guess. We just got like a minute or two left on the show, unfortunately.
Oh.
Oh wow, that flew.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Time flew.
Well, I guess what's the craziest thing you did for Halloween while we have a minute?
So the craziest thing that I did for Halloween was one year we were at this big party and everybody got like super waisty pants, and my cousin's boyfriend was caught sneaking off with another girl,
Ooh.
and we went on a high-speed chase to hunt her down and to kick her butt. And here we are flying around in a drop-top bug on Halloween, dressed in, I don't even remember what I was dressed as, but we're all in costumes, and we're literally like flying down all these streets chasing these two around because he was in the passenger seat of that girl's car.
Your Halloween sounds much more movie worthy than mine. You guys had a full-blown adventure in
Oh
costume.
yeah, it was fun. I just
That's
don't even
great.
know how we didn't get pulled over because we're like seriously chasing these two for like 30 minutes straight.
Well, while time is still with us, I'd like to just mention to everybody out there that yes, tomorrow we will be just hanging out at the Gallery Cabaret. If you want to come by and wish us happy anniversary for being on the show for 5 years, or if you just want to meet your favorite Q4 hosts, we'll be at the Gallery Cabaret, located at 2020 North Oakley. It's easy to remember, 2020 North Oakley. In fact, it's right on the corner. It's off of Oakley and Armitage. It's right around the corner from Western and Armitage. So please come by, get yourself a beer or two, and there'll be a buffet there. It comes out about 7 or 8ish, done by Chef Scotty of Gallery Cabaret. And you want to see some grilling magic? Trust me, Scotty can work that grill.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, like any friend you've known for 20 years, it's like we've bumped heads and we've had disagreements over the years, but if push came to shove, I'd be like, yeah, Scotty can work the hell out of a grill.
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
can't deny it. So please come by tomorrow and wish us happy anniversary. Thank you so very much for tuning in to Magic Radio Chicago and to continue to tune in. It's been a labor of love for me, as well as an honor to be able to share my ideas and my views of this world with our listeners out there, and to learn that there are people who feel the same.
Yeah. Congratulations, DK.
Thank you very much. And Nina, thank you for signing on board and helping to raise the bar of this show.
Oh, for sure.
Your ideas. Like I knew I need to start getting organized, and I need to dust myself off and just start getting stuff done. You know, that's been half my problem for the last year or two.
Well, you got me on your team now, so
Yeah.
we're gonna do this together.
And part of me's like, I don't want to tick off Nina. I better get on that. So in reverse order, first of all, I would like to give a shout out and big thanks to my co-hosts who have helped me along my magical education, who have helped make my show a presence here at Q4, who have helped spread the word and help make us known, which always surprises and really touches me when I hear that. So first of all, Nina, thank you so much for all of your contributions, and you've only just begun and it's already significant.
Aw, you're welcome, and thank you.
I'd like to thank Alicia Nell Mitchell, the Galaxy Goddess, wherever you are right now. I really do hope everything is going really well for you. And I hope that you and your family in the long run enjoy much love and contentment. To my previous co-host before her, Morgan. Morgan, I hope you're doing really well too. Thank you for everything you taught us on the air, for the while that you were with the show. And then before Morgan, then there's my good friend Bishop Lainey Peterson, who is a longtime colleague of mine and friend. And she is a Gnostic bishop of the Church of, I forget what it's called, the Apostolic Church of Damkar, or something like that. I'll look it up. But anyway, we'll look it up. And Bishop, and she is actually now on Hardline News, so congratulations, Bishop Laney. And then to my very first co-host, going 5 years back, my best friend in the world, the person who I would not have done this show without, the person who we went through a lot of mileage that year. We went through a lot of drama, and we dealt with it using our wits. We used magic, and we used our hearts, and we followed synchronicity. And where it led us to was Q4 Radio, where we basically just completely jaw dropped the people who interviewed us, and they just gave us crazy kids a shot. And here we are 5 years later. So all of you, thank you so much for your contributions. To my son out there, I love you very much with all my heart, and I'd love to see you more often. And know that your dad's out here thinking about you, making some kind of legacy that you'll know that your dad was around, and that he knew some really cool stuff, and he knew some really good people. And hopefully this will help with your world as you grow and become a man. I'm very proud of you. I love you very much, son. So it's time to wrap up now. I think I've stretched it out a little bit, so I don't want to waste anybody else's airtime. But thank you so much for listening to my show. Thank you for your likes and your comments on Facebook. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm always shocked as hell when anybody listens to my show, to be perfectly honest. And thanks to all the authors and the interesting people and the passionate artists and lovers and theologians out there who've come to my show to share a bit of this world. I do think that we're making a difference.
Yes.
And thanks to Bill Morton out there, the president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, who has taken me under his wing this year, and we've been networking like crazy, and we're going to make Magic Radio Chicago bigger, and we're going to start branching out into events. We're going to start hosting fundraisers to keep this show on the air, as well as make other things happen.
Yes.
So it's going to be an interesting time. Thank you so very much for listening. Thank you for calling in. Please hit us up with more of your questions if you like. We'll read them on the air later. You don't have to do it on the air.
Yeah, or even if you guys have discussion topics or anything like that,
we'll
message me, let me know, and I'll make sure I make a note of it, and we'll, go ahead and discuss it on our next show if we missed anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can reach us at Magic, keep in mind, MAGICK, so CK, Magic Radio Chicago at gmail.com. That's all there is to it, just magicradiochicago@gmail.com. And shoot us a line, send us your messages.
Right.
Well, as I like to remind our listeners, as we do every week, just to remember that the magical path is in fact a religion. Just remember that religion, when done right, is art. So if you look for the art in your world, you will make your life magical. Have a good night, everyone.
Blessed be you guys.
Okay.
That was good.
Thank you.
All right.
I almost canceled, but
We're out, you guys.
I feel all right.
We're out. Bye.
See you tomorrow.